funding that's beginning to flow into this as I speak and very soon in the future. So I would say we do have an optimistic future, and you're right. The economics, the whole approach to economics in this country have better start integrating sociology, etc. And we need to let go of the old forms. If we don't, we are going to go down. One question that is to me very basic to increase viability in agriculture. My husband and I moved around Valley to do very small level farming and got very discouraged. You talk to anybody up there. Gloria Decatur is part of the group I'm working with. Tom Pally, is the fact that agricultural work in the field destroys people's bodies. American people don't like to do it. We have been able to sustain agriculture in this country, from my understanding, because we have had a lot of illegal migration from Mexico, etc. People who can do that work, who have been able to maintain it. I was in affordable housing many years, and so the trend we're seeing in farm worker housing is you get a generation away from those migrant workers, and they start seeing that I do not have to be physically miserable. I'm going to move out of farm work. I see it as a huge issue, and I don't have a real clear answer. Of course, there's all the issues of low pay, poor housing, getting poisoned by pesticides, etc. But just the plain physical labor is very hard for people to sustain for an adult life. And have you had any conversations and ideas around that? I feel like that's one reason there's been a change in this county.
Well, labor issue is huge. We have a task force that's working on that. And we've had great success. There are two major issues. One is the immigration issue, and that's a federal policy that's very problematical. Going back to this issue of sociology, for the first time probably in a long time, you have labor groups, environmental groups, and traditional farm groups like Farm Bureau and others, Western growers, all on the same side around a national policy, which is the immigration policy. Everybody wants ag jobs to get passed, it's not passing. Now, that may change if we get a new administration, no matter who the president is, it's possible that will change. So that's one very interesting impediment to fix the problem. We need an immigration policy that allows people to go back and forth so that we can have the labor pool that we need for that. Because the reality is, you're right, people don't do it. They won't continue to do it if they have other opportunities. They'll go into construction or many other things. So the second thing is, though, if you do have a base of immigrants that are working, you need an environment for them to want to continue to work there, because as there are less and less workers, they're going to go where they feel the most comfortable. Ventura saw this early on, and that's why they've been investing a lot in the development of farm worker housing, because when the project started, there were probably thousands of people living under bridges and in the trees. And so what they've been doing is building housing using federal and state loan funds, private investment that was organized through one of our projects down there, where we brought the banking community and the farmers and the labor community together, and they have actually been solving the problem. So there are examples of, the other thing is health. The other thing that we've done is, down there, is that the group in Ventura County has developed a farm worker health insurance program that's being piloted now. It's working very well, which the growers, the county, and private industry work together to create it. So if you can create a situation where people have housing and health care, and wages are rising because of the short labor supply, that combination provides a context where it's easier to attract labor in a short labor market. So those are important issues. I don't think it was last season, but the season before, when they had to drop a lot of the pairs and just leave them up in the two-county share. And that was a direct result of some of the issues that I'm talking about. So I think it's important, particularly the immigration issue, is the primary reason. So I think it's important that we focus on this, and we are focused on this issue.
Okay, but there is another part of that question. That work is almost unbearable when you see other alternatives.
Right.
I mean,
so you're talking about a very long-term solution, and that
I'm talking about Tom Pally. The only way he can make his farm work is to have not get local people to do it, because people can't not sustain that hard work. And it's just a bigger question of,
Well,
what is the
mechanization is
answer?
an important piece of that, but there are some things that are not gonna be mechanized, and so there will always have to be labor if we can do them.
Mr. Spencer? Well, first of all, the North American Free Trade Agreement, if it was a success, there would be no immigration problem. That was what it was billed as going to do. It's going to make things with our neighbors better. All it's done is brought our labor force and our pay that we get from our labor force, farm workers, down to equal that. So it's been a total failure, and we were the biggest. You know, I still say, and there's things that like labor force that's not, you can do in the short term, but there's some direct things, as I mentioned, government regulation. Right now, the state of California is doing all they can to basically eliminate our using redwood products in our building industry through these, they're saying it's not fire safe. You know, we've been using redwood siding and redwood decking for years. And then we wonder, we say we can't use a product we grow here, so then they want to turn to these products made out of foreign oil for our decking. I mean, like I say, we're stabbing ourselves in the back, and then we're wondering why in the hell it hurts. You know, you just